All right, so a little bit of a different format today, but as you guys know, Tennocon just got done wrapping up, and this was my first Tennocon experience, being able to watch it live and share that moment with the community, and I felt like it was appropriate maybe to share with you guys my thoughts and opinions. I got some notes I wrote out over the course of the 2 days and whatnot, so I wanted to share with you guys. So here we are, we're making a video about it. Why not, right? We're gonna talk about it, start a discussion, that's what we do. And before we get into it, if you're new here, I just started playing Warframe about 7 months ago at the time of recording this video. I got about 700 to 800 hours played on Steam, but only about 300 hours in missions per Warframe stats. I'm only at MR17. I'm moving at a slog pace because I'm intentionally not looking things up. I'm kind of letting my chat and YouTube comments guide me through what I'm doing. That's kind of what's making my playthrough a little sluggish or a little bit different from somebody else's. So yeah, I'm still fairly new. So this Tennocon I knew was going to be a big one for me because, we started right around when the old piece came out. And so building our way up to like this full year cycle, like I'm coming up on my first full year. So this was cool. And I knew this was going to be a cool thing, or at least I was definitely hoping it would be. And it did not disappoint. I know I've read some comments to some people that there were some disappointing things, and I can get into that. But for me, myself, being new to this game and building up to this was pretty cool. So we're going to get into it. Now, due to IRL commitments, I wasn't able to watch like the full event. I was only really able to catch like the main 4 events that I have here, which would be the cosplay event, the Tenno concert, the Soulframe showcase demo, and the Warframe showcase demo, whatever you guys want to call that. So we're going to go through that, starting off from the beginning with the cosplay contest, my thoughts and opinions on that, and work our way all the way to the grand finale, which would be my thoughts on the Warframe thing. So let's begin, shall we? So as I said, the first thing that we got to watch was the cosplay event, or the cosplay contest, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I've always admired cosplayers, especially those who have sunk a lot of effort and money and stuff into it. I mean, cosplaying is pretty expensive. I remember I had looked into it many years ago, and I was interested in building a Halo ODST armor thing, just for myself, not even to take pictures with. And yeah, EVA foam, all the different materials you need, the coordination, the creativity, going out and seeking out the different boots and different gloves and stuff. I mean, it's a whole, it could be like a whole job, damn near. It's a lot. It's a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of creativity. It's something I definitely can't do. So I have a lot of respect, the utmost respect for cosplayers. I will say though, I was slightly disappointed on the amount of contestants. I thought there was going to be more, or maybe even some more extravagant cosplay. There was only like a handful of ones that stood out to me that were like really crazy, like the Marie, obviously the Grendel and Goss, the Lotus, the one that won. I mean, those were really the only 3 that stood out to me that were like really extravagant. I mean, off the top of my head, like those are the ones I keep thinking about. I mean, there were a lot of good ones there, but I thought there was going to be a lot more. And reading some comments, I getting the vibe that the previous Tennocon events had more to it too. So I guess I'm not the only one that feels that way. Nonetheless, it was still pretty cool to see. However, if you were watching my stream, you did know that I was crashing out. I was crashing out quite a bit while watching it, and I will tell you why. This is at no fault of the contestants at all, so I want to make that very clear. This is at no fault. Whatever I'm going to say is not a stab at the contestants at all. The thing that was making me crash out was the disorganization and the awkwardness of the events. I actively was taking notes in my note. I actively was taking notes as it was going on because I was getting so frustrated with small things about how it was being organized. I feel like nobody knew where to walk. I feel like some of the music was being dragged on way too long. I feel like the contestants were trying to fill time with emoting and doing dances longer than they probably should have, and they probably didn't know any better because they're just going with it. I feel like even with the music just abruptly cutting, and then putting the mic in their face and trying to get these individuals who probably have, understandably no public speaking skills. I stream, yeah, but I would be nervous as hell being up there, and kind of just impromptu, like shoving a mic in their face. I'm sure it looked like there was no monitors where they couldn't hear themselves, on the stage, because with the Grendel and the Goss, when they told them to fist bump and they couldn't hear them. They all got like masks on, helmets on and stuff. So, I mean, I just feel like it could have been a little bit better organized. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because those individuals who are going up on the stage, these cosplayers, are spending, you know, hundreds of hours possibly on these costumes, you know, these, especially these really extravagant ones. And this is like their moment, you know, this is their moment. They're in front of thousands, you know, hundreds of thousands of people ultimately, you know, through YouTube video plays and stuff like that, you know, and showcasing what they've done and being on, you know, in the public eye. And I feel like there should be some more, you know, responsibility on the event organizers, whoever's running the contest, you know, the individual setting it up, you know, to be a little bit more conscious of this and make this a lot more of a pleasant experience for the contestants, because this is something that's going to live with them. And the example I used is, you know, imagine you're someone who, you know, spent all this money, you traveled across the country or even across the world to be here. Your family knows you're going, your friends know you're going, and you have an embarrassing moment that happens that, like, you know, you weren't prepared for because the event was so disorganized. And then that's like a little stain. You know, you might have had a good time. I'm not saying that nobody had a bad time, but you know, that's still like a little stain, like in the back of your head. When you go back home and you go to your family's house, you go to your friend's house, and they're like, oh, hey, how was it? Here, let's put it on the TV. And you're like, you know, like, you know, maybe we don't. Like, I had fun, but maybe we don't watch it back, you know. Maybe that's me just thinking way too hard into it. I feel like they should just be a little bit more conscious on these things, you know. It looked like they didn't really have much of a plan, and it was a little chaotic or disorganized or kind of winging it at moments, you know. Nonetheless, like, everyone looked good. Everyone looked like they were having a good time. I know I'm spending a lot of time on this topic, but, you know, I just want it to be the best. You know, I think everyone wants it to be the best, and, you know, especially for these individuals who traveled and spent all this money and time, you know, you want the event to flow. And I feel like they should just put a little bit more effort into making that flow a little bit better. More of a plan, get everyone on the same page, you know. Something I don't know, but other than that, like, everything looked good, you know, and I think the winners definitely deserve to win. You know, those who won. I think we all knew when you saw the individual dressed as the Lotus coming out. I mean, she did a phenomenal job, so you knew she was going to win that right away. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. All right, so now to the Tenno concert, and man, this was nuts. No, seriously, that was really cool. When I stream with background music. I do like a lot of synthwave, you know, stuff in the background. So I'm not really listening to the music all that much of Warframe, and I'm doing myself a disservice. And I realize that, like, I know the songs, I've heard the songs, you know, so I recognize a good amount, you know, or a small amount, not a good amount, but you know, hearing that, I'm realizing how much of a disservice I'm doing to myself. Like, listening to this live, and I'm a big music guy. I've come up on music. I've played in bands. Music has been like a passion of mine in the background too as well. So, you know, live music has always been something I've enjoyed, and getting into that, like, I felt like I was getting into like a metal show, especially when they're going with like the Road songs and stuff like that, you know, whatever it was from the, I really like the old piece, like the soundtrack of the old piece, because that's when I came into it, and like those songs stand out the most to me, man. It was awesome. That whole thing was awesome. The energy was awesome. The vocalists, all the vocalists were spot on. I was a little disappointed that Era didn't play. I actually made a bet with my chat that I'd give away 10 gifted subs if Era didn't play. I was so confident, and they did not play. So I was really disappointed. I looked at their tour schedule and everything. I'm like, hey, they're free. Maybe they'll show up and make a guest appearance and do, you know, Crawl Backwards Out of Heaven. They did not. But other than that, I mean, seriously, it was awesome. Like, that was a really, really, really cool thing. I don't know, the energy, it was so impactful. And even like the dancers and stuff, I know I memed on them in a video, but like that whole thing was just awesome. It was really cool to watch. And, you know, I stood, you know, here watching as if like I was at a concert the whole time. I was really getting into it. Like, the energy, you could feel the energy watching it through the screen. Seriously, it was awesome. I've never had like a symphony like that captivate me so much through a screen. You know, like, you can watch videos, like I've watched videos and get into it, but that was like, wow, I felt like I was like there, and it was, I would get the chills like talking about it. I don't know, is that weird? Then like, and doing that with like the community too was awesome. So that was like Tenno concert, 10 out of 10. It's everyone memes on it. You know, everyone memes on it. You know, they're a music company before they're a gaming company, and it clearly shows. Like, they are very, very talented musicians that make these songs for this game. And yeah, so seriously, I think top three best, you know, video game soundtracks like ever of all time. Like, up there with like the original Halos. Like, seriously, it's amazing. I could glaze it for a very long time, but we already know. I don't need to spend too much time on it. That was an incredible thing. 10 out of 10. I wish they would do more of those, but, you know, sometimes it's better to have that in smaller pieces because, you know, it's something to look forward to. All right, so now getting into Soulframe. So I'm someone who has not tried Soulframe yet. A chatter of mine very generously gifted me a founder's code that I've redeemed earlier in the year. I have not found the time to jump into it because I want to be able to stream that as well, but Warframe has just consumed so much of my content creation time. But seeing that presentation made me want to bump that up in my schedule a little bit faster. I got really invested into that story they were trying to tell, and I don't even really know what like the story was. You know, I don't even know what most of like the Warframe story is, let alone just a game I haven't even played, and seeing this stuff for the first time on screen, and it looked really good. Like the story, whatever they were trying to tell, like I was really getting into it. I even said that I was like, yeah, I kind of want to get into this game now just to see what was going on, like to kind of get immersed into it and see what this world they're painting and stuff, or the story they're trying to tell for us. So yeah, now I'm planning to play that much sooner. The other thing that I was talking about with my chat is DE is very ballsy for going up on stage and showing a clear work in progress product. You know, I know it's in like a closed alpha or whatever. I don't know the proper terminology, but you know, they are really ballsy for going up there and showing, you know, the cracks and the unpolishedness. You know, like you can tell that they're still, you know, it's obviously a work in progress. I'm not going to sit here and judge it. Nobody should be, you know, they're not marketing it like a full game, but it is really ballsy to go up there with the confidence level that they are and to be so transparent and show the game in its current state without like smoke and mirrors. And I was talking about that because any other studio, maybe not any other studio, but a lot of other studios would either A, not want to show off a, you know, quarter-baked or half-baked product, and B, you know, they would be trying to hide a lot of the cracks. You know, they'd be trying to sell you this game. They'd be trying to, you know, convince you that there's not bugs, there's not jankiness, or there's not clipping, or there's not, you know, some floaty elements to it or whatnot. They would be trying to convince you that things are working fine, and then you get the product, and then you're blindsided by things not being fine. I think it's bold. I think it's ballsy. I think it's confident, and I think that is a testament to how good of a company DE is, and people trust their products because of how transparent they are and showing that. I mean, they had a long segment on Soulframe, and you know, knowing damn well that it's not the popular game right now, of course, and it's going to be a while before that game, you know, becomes, you know, maybe any type of massive success. You know, time will tell. But it's just, it was cool to see that, and the universe that they seem to be building there seems very interesting, and I think that showcase definitely did a lot of good, because in my community, I can't speak for anywhere else, but in my community there was a lot of interest for Soulframe, and a lot of people went on to try it over the weekend, and a lot of people were saying it was good, which is making me hyped. I mean, this is going to go around, you know, people are going to get hyped to try this game. And one of the observations I made throughout my life between like sci-fi and fantasy, it seems like there's more of a desire for fantasy related content or fantasy related media. You know, growing up, I was always a Star Wars guy, so it's not a biased thing. I've always liked sci-fi, but everyone that I've met, it seems like there's always been a desire for fantasy. Like everyone's been a Lord of the Rings guy, you know, before they were a Star Wars guy, or everyone is really big on like Baldur's Gate, not like a Mass Effect game. Granted, there's not really many like sci-fi games that are like, you know, Baldur's Gate, but you know what I mean. Like, you know, I feel like there's a little bit more of a desire for fantasy worlds. So I don't necessarily think that the majority of the Warframe community is going to go over to Soulframe when that game eventually comes out. And I talked about that on stream, and that seemed to be like the general sentiment. But I do think that there is a desire for a game like what they're making over there for Soulframe. I haven't played it, so I can't really say much, but visually and what everyone has told me or what I've read so far, I feel like that game will eventually get its footing, and I think that game will be just as big as Warframe has in that setting. You know, I think there's a desire, there's a want, there's a need for a game like that to exist. And I'm looking forward to trying it. You know, like I said, I'm more of a sci-fi guy, but I'm looking forward to trying it. And what they showed off is like kind of converted me a little bit. So I can only imagine what that's like for other people who maybe are not as interested into that, and they see it and they go, oh, this looks pretty good. So I'm excited. I'm excited to try that, and I'm going to share that journey with everyone on here, on YouTube, on Twitch. So yeah, we'll be doing that soon. So here we are. Now we made it. Now we made it to the meat of the whole thing. The whole Warframe showcase. And man, I was blown away. And the thing is, I'm only like maybe a quarter knowledgeable on things that are happening. I was impressed with how much I kind of was picking up on. I guess I didn't really realize I knew more than I thought. I was kind of downplaying my knowledge on things, but I can only imagine what it's like for you guys who have been waiting all these years and like know like all the ins and outs of the lore and whatnot. Because like I was getting chills and I was getting like, you know, all amped up for this. I can only imagine what you guys feel like, because that was insane. I mean, we all know it. It was really cool, and I'll tell you what I thought about it. So like I said, I know I'm not as in tune with the story, but seeing what is happening is making me want to go back and like study the lore. So I'm planning to go back and replay through the story, really study what's going on, really try to be like a lore freak on this game, because I want that level of hype. It reminds me of a time when the Marvel Cinematic Universe was starting to come to an end, and I went to go see Infinity War without really knowing what was going on. I knew like little bits and pieces, but I didn't really know what was going on. And the feeling of seeing Thor enter the battlefield in the middle of Wakanda or wherever they were, and just absolutely just fuck shit up, man. I mean, that was cool. I remember I was getting hyped, and people in the theater were getting hyped, and I didn't know what was going on, but I was so invested. I was so hyped. And after that movie, I went back and I started watching through like every single Marvel movie, and I was studying the lore in anticipation for Endgame, because I wanted to be along with the audience with that for how hyped it was. You know, I wanted to be with everyone. I wanted to have the conversations. I wanted to theory craft ideas, theorize. I don't know if it's a word. That's what I was going to say. You know, I wanted to talk. I wanted to be invested. I wanted to be hyped. So I'm getting that same feeling with Warframe right now. I'm seeing we're going to a new system. I'm seeing this new Chimera frame. I'm seeing, you know, there was this whole talk with Lotus and Man of the Wall, or that's probably not Lotus. It's probably like Natal, right? See, I don't even really know. I know that's probably not. I don't know. See, now someone's going to correct me, but I mean, that was cool. Everything was cool, and I was getting really invested into what was happening. And now I want to go back and study up so I can be ready, and so I can really know what I'm talking about and feel a lot more connected to this game that I'm sinking a lot of time into. But, you know, overall, just be a part of a good story, because the story seems that good. The vibe I've gotten for what we've seen too is it seems like DE has been wanting to get to this point for a while. Now, again, I've only been playing for 7 months, but I get this vibe that I feel like they've been waiting years to get to this point. Like they've been like biting their tongue, and they've been like patiently but like excitingly trying to get to this point, you know, like trying to move things along, but at like a pace to where it's not speeding up or whatever. Like they were waiting for this. Like now we're here. Like I get this sense that there's all this build up, and like they've been just waiting to blow the lid off this thing. I don't know if that's true. I feel like it is. And it just seems like there's just general excitement within their camp, and obviously that reflects to the community. It seems like everyone is really, really hyped about this. I feel, I don't know, I feel good. It feels like everyone feels good. I don't know. I mean, you tell me. You feel good about this? I feel good about this. I don't even know what the fuck's going on. Not to mention, one of the things I talked about is going to a new system, like a new star chart. Presumably that's what that is. And they talked about like new mission types and whatnot. You know, I feel, I could be wrong, I feel like this excitement can boil back to that alone, because that gives a lot more like creative freedom. You know, there's rules that were established within the origin system that they kind of have to abide by, you know. So going to a new system, you can kind of break the rules. You can do new things. You can experiment with things. You know, Deviri is kind of like that too. You know, you go to Deviri and it's an experiment. You know, they tried new systems. They tried new ways to play the game, you know. Now you can do that with a whole new system. You're not bound by the confines of the rules that you've designed in the star chart. Now you're going to a new star chart. There can be, you know, a whole new plethora of things to do. You know, obviously that's apparent, but you know, I'm talking like, you know, they can experiment quite a bit. At least that's what I feel like. Like I said, I could be wrong about that, but I feel like there could be a level of creative excitement there, because now you can define this. You know, the Tau system is what they define. There's no, you know, laws to this. There's no rules to this. They can do whatever they want. This is the universe they're designing. Obviously, the whole universe, you know, they've designed, but this specific system, like I feel like they can get a little bit more creative. And I would want to wager a little bit on that's probably where some of this excitement is. It's like a little bit more of creative freedom there. And you can kind of see that with how they were displaying the sentience and the city and the entire aesthetic and the vibe, I mean, there's definitely some creative liberties there. You can see it with how they're designing the architecture and the sentient, like, open world area or whatever that's supposed to be. You know, you can see that there's definitely some creative liberties there. I mean, that's like a no-brainer, but, you know, I just feel like there's a little bit more excitement because they can design whole new worlds again and, you know, really define the rules here. It's like kind of almost like a blank slate. And how are we gonna redo things, or how are we gonna do things differently than, you know, we previously have done? And to that point too, to something I've been talking about a lot, I don't know what engine they use, but it is like awesome. I'm seriously so impressed with this engine that this game is running on, because it's so, like, it feels so not demanding, like an Unreal engine. And it feels light, but not like floaty, or, you know, like the game feels like it's got weight to it. The game feels, you know, like it's powerful, and, you know, I mean, things work, right? But the engine itself, like, I feel like my computer's not going to explode when I run it. It doesn't feel demanding. I mean, it can run on phones, it can run on the Switch and stuff like that, you know, like it feels good. And the fact that they can design such cool stuff within this engine and things just work. Like, I know there's, you know, we joke about bug frame. Every game's got its bugs, but man, I mean, this game and its engine, like, it just holds up. And I was in such awe when I was watching, you know, them showing, I forgive me, I can't remember the zone's name that they were showing with Briscoe walking around in, but, you know, I was such in awe, like, you know, this is like really good. That the fact that, like, I feel like it just gets better. Like, it just gets better and better. The engine's just getting better. It looks like everything just looks better. I'm sure there's, you know, smoke and mirrors there, some tricks to make, you know, things look good, or maybe it's just a really good engine. I read comments about people saying that it was a part of, like, the Unreal Engine, like they helped design the Unreal Engine and they, like, took this, like, splinter version of it off to themselves and kind of started building off of it. I think that's what I read. But it's seriously, it's really good. Like, I don't know. And seeing these, like, expansion type story modes or DLCs, I'm getting crucified for calling them DLCs, but I mean, go look up the actual definition of DLC. All right, this is basically the same thing. But yeah, like, it's good. Like, I'm impressed. Like, nothing looks dated. Everything looks like it's improving, and it holds up, man. It holds up. I mean, I always compare World of Warcraft. That's the one game that I always go back to compare it to. I mean, you look at WoW's engine. I mean, that's looking dated, right? After all these years, there's not really much else they can do. It feels like it's being held together by duct tape and glue. You know, there's only so much they can, you know, make look pretty in that engine. So I don't know, Warframe, whatever they're doing over there, and every time they do these new story expanses, whatever you want to call it, it looks really good. So much so that I've actually started to become like a Captura collector. That's something I value a lot, because I actually like going into the Captura mode and just kind of going around with my camera, taking screenshots. I record some background loops and stuff. But I'm, like, impressed, like, with the different settings you can tweak. It reminds me of, like, old school Halo theater mode. And I almost wish, you know, if they could add, it's probably stupid, you know, maybe not, you know, important at all, obviously, but man, maybe like a theater system. You can kind of go back and look at old missions you ran, and you could do, like, machinima style content, you know, slowing down. That's what I used to do back in Halo, like, slow down, see, like, what a grenade looked like when it was moving, you know, change the colors, whatever. I feel like Warframe could benefit from that. You know, it's not important, of course, but I'm getting off track here. But yeah, their environmental design, art, storytelling, whatever, is just top notch. And seeing this on display with this new expansion thing, update, whatever, it blew me away. It seriously blew me away. Like, I am really looking forward to going and experiencing this now that I'm a lot more hyped than I was, you know, going into the old piece last year. I only had minimal time building into that, but doing this now, yeah, I'm fucking stoked. I got no other professional way of saying I am fucking stoked. Like, I don't know, and I can only imagine, like I said at the beginning of this tangent here, I can only imagine what it's like for you people that have been waiting like 14 some years for this. Like, this looks really good. All in all, for this being my first Tennocon, yeah, this was awesome, and I don't really know what I was expecting going into it. I was a little nervous. When I even booted up that stream on the 10th, I said that to everyone. I said, this is the first time I've been, like, nervous to stream in a while, you know, and I even want to go physically next year in person to go see this, but I had so much fun like watching it with the community and being able to like commentate and pick out things and whatnot. You know, it's like I'm a little torn. Like I do definitely think I'm gonna go in person next year, but I really like that. Like that was such a cool experience to share that with such like a awesome community that Warframe is, and you know, and all this anticipation and hype for this moment. Like this felt like Christmas in July. Maybe that's why they do it in July. It's like Christmas in July. But seriously, it was cool. I didn't know what to expect. You know, a lot of people have been asking me, of course, you know, streamer friends and chatters and whatnot, you know, what did I think? This is my first one. What did I think? And I just keep telling everyone, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I was going to expect. I kind of was like really like neutral. Like I didn't really know. Was I going to enjoy it? Was I not going to? You know, I don't know. And I don't know what I was expecting, but that blew my expectations away. That's like the best I can say. I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know where the bar was for me, but that exceeded whatever I was expecting. And it was awesome. And as I've been saying to the community, you know, it feels so good. In the time and age, day, whatever you want to say, that is gaming nowadays, or even just modern media, of like things are shutting down. There's so much uncertainty. Your favorite studio could get axed by the corporation that they're owned by. You know, you have the whole Bungie incidents. You know, you got constant layoffs all over the place. Like it's just, there's so much uncertainty in gaming right now, and it's really hard to confidently find a game that you want to call home. And it's so weird to me, man. It's so weird because I've tried Warframe. I've tried it a few times before in the past, and every time I was like, this game is hot dog shit. There's no way I'm gonna play this game. And it's so weird. If I would have gone back 7 years ago and told myself, you know, hey, you're gonna be a Warframe, you know, fanatic, whatever, you're gonna be a Warframe content creator, you're gonna be all these things, you're gonna love this game, I would have never believed it. Seriously, I would have thought someone's fucking with me. And it's still a weird feeling to think about it, because I feel like I'm at home. And I feel like I've found a place, and I almost feel like I'm cheating. Honestly, I almost feel like it's like cheating. Like I'm watching my friends, like IRL friends, that are disappointed and not depressed, but you know, disappointed and upset with the games that they've sunk so much time into. My one friend had like 3,600 hours into New World, and that got shut down. Like that ruined him. That guy was so into New World, that ruined him. Two of my other friends, or cousins, I should say, really big into Destiny, grew up on Destiny, and that just got ripped out from underneath them. Like that ruined them, you know? And I'm like seeing this, like, you know, within the other communities, the greater gaming community in itself, and, you know, I feel like I'm like cheating. I feel like this is like not like supposed to be like how it's supposed to be. I'm watching everyone else crumble around me, and I'm going, there's no signs, there's no cracks in this fucking pillar. There's no signs of slowing down here. We're just getting started. Hey, if anything, now we're getting started. This is the time. Like now, this is starting to get to like Avengers level of hype. Not, you know, pre Endgame. Not, you know, whatever. I'm not gonna get into that, but you know what I mean. It's crazy. It's a really crazy feeling, and I feel so honored, blessed, whatever word you want to say, to be here. And you know, I like I said, I feel like I'm cheating. You know, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Seriously, this is a good time. It's a good time. I've thoroughly enjoyed the Tennocon 2026. Might be my first Tennocon. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to next year. I'm really happy they announced the dates too. I don't know if they did that last year as well, but I was really happy they did that, because now I have plenty of time to plan to go. So I do want to go next year. I won't even be disappointed though. If I can't go, I won't even be disappointed, because I just get to watch it, and I know watching it was super cool. So that's that. And I know there were some complaints by some individuals that said that there were some things like the relay events didn't work, or, you know, or it was lackluster, or there's certain things that, you know, weren't as, you know, extravagant as like the former Tennocons or whatever. I wasn't there, so I don't know. I like in the past Tennocons, obviously, but I will say this. This is the thing that I was going to touch on. In today's world, with gaming as it is, if the thing that disappointed you about this Tennocon was a relay event not working, or the relay event being a little disappointing, I think we're in good hands. I think you can have your gripes, you can have your complaints, that's fine. But if that is the thing that's disappointing you, I think that's a good sign. Think about it. Anyways, that's the end of this video. I appreciate you all for hanging out with me and joining me on this journey. It's been a hell of a time. I'm looking forward to what's next. I got a handful of more videos that are in the works now, so be on the lookout for that. You can subscribe. This is where I start shilling out on myself. You can hit the subscribe button. You can hit the like, drop a comment. Tell me how you feel about the suit, or tell me how you feel about, you know, this Tennocon. How did this hold up to the other ones? Give me your opinion, something. I don't know. Or don't say anything at all. Just get out of here. Just get the fuck out of here. Go somewhere else. I don't know. I don't care. I do care. I don't care. But thank you for watching. I appreciate you all. We'll see you in the next one.